পিছনের লাইটটা কি অসুবিধা হবে না? এটাই
বন্ধ করে দাও, এটা বন্ধ করে দাও,
এটা খোলা থাকে, ওই লাইট অফ করে
জানলাটা বন্ধ করে, আলোটা আসছে, রিফ্লেক্ট করছে আলো। হ্যাঁ, জানলাটা বন্ধ করে এসছে সব হচ্ছে, কমপ্লিট হয়েছে।
আচ্ছা দেখে চেক করি। নামটা কি ছিল?
বেলডাঙ্গা দিয়েছিল SRF কলেজ বা বিকেলডাঙ্গা কলেজ ছিল।
টোটাল মানে টাইটেলটা কি ছিল? শ্রীরামনারায়ণ ফতেপুরিয়া কলেজ।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, শিবনারায়ণ রামেশ্বর ফতেপুরিয়া কলেজ।
এখন ওর ইউটিউব চ্যানেলে যাও, তোমার বাফারিং ইউটিউবে তো।
আচ্ছা, তোমার এটা ইউটিউবে থেকে যাবে তো, স্টোর হয়ে?
একটা এসেছে, হ্যাঁ অলরেডি দিয়ে দিয়েছে।
হচ্ছে অফ করে আছে, এখন অফ করে আছে।
প্রথম দিকেরটা
ঠিক আছে, থ্যাংক ইউ দাদা। এই এই কি হচ্ছে ওটা? আগে ছিল, প্রথম দিকে ছিল। হ্যালো, এই ওটা আগেরটা, এখান থেকে অফ করা আছে, তখন মাইক অফ করা আছে।
না না অফ হয়নি এখন। মাইক অফ হয়নি, আমার মনে হচ্ছে গুগল মিটিং অফ করতে হবে নাকি।
আচ্ছা,
Show Mallo. Good morning. Am I audible? Mhm. Okay.
achievements, and challenges. Uh, the Department of Political Science, SR Fatepuria College, in collaboration with Department of Political Science, Haji A.K. Khan College, and Research Cell and SC/ST OBC Cell of SR Fatepuria College, uh, has organized this 2-day national e-conference on empowerment of women in modern India. Actually, every year we used to organize this conference on 8 March, that is International Women's Day. But this time, actually, there was a university exam. That's why we have postponed this seminar, and we are organizing this seminar today. Now, I would like to request our principal, Dr. Suhash Roy sir, to kindly give the inaugural speech so that we can start the 2-day national e-conference in a smooth way. Sir?
Thank you. Very good morning to all of you. Dear participants, resource persons, paper presenters, organizers, and all those who are present in this virtual platform are being given heartfelt welcome and best wishes from me and our college. The Political Science Department of Sewnarayan Rameswar Fatepuria College, Beldanga, Murshidabad, and Haji A.K. Khan College, Horiharpara, Murshidabad, are organizing this 2-day national e-conference in collaboration with a number of cells of SR Fatepuria College on empowerment of women in modern India, achievements and challenges. And as the principal of Sewnarayan Rameswar Fatepuria College, I would like to inaugurate hereby this 2-day national e-conference. Today, it is a great privilege for our college and particularly for me to address this August virtual assembly for a noble cause. Women empowerment is a buzzing word among the development activists, planners, policymakers, administrators, and many more. It is believed that the key of modern civilization rests upon this concept. Unless and until a country truly advocates women empowerment in its every work, it cannot step forward to the development. It is essential element for development. It is true that the government, both union and state governments, are trying to empower the women folk of the country. Not all people do it from their hearts. There are only lip services also. The government is adopting policies for better education, better nutrition, and better hygienic facilities for girls. People are withdrawing their daughters from the schools. The law of the land states that the determination of sex is not legal during pregnancy. The reality is that female feticide is very high in few states of India. Child marriage is prohibited since long period, but we cannot prevent its growing incidence. Atrocities on women are going up every day. Dowry giving and dowry taking, both are illegal in the eyes of law. But crime due to dowry is also alarmingly present in the present society. Domestic violence is very common despite having strong judicial protection in favor of women. The women of modern India have proven their potentialities without any doubt. In education, they have crossed the men. In sports and games, they have achieved success at the international level. At present, the President of India is a same is the case of the Chief Minister of West Bengal. The women have joined the police force, army, banks, insurance companies, etc., government services. They are doing the work of pilots and drivers. Lady doctors and lady lawyers are working with same efficiency. The women writers, poetess, painters, managers are no less competent than their counterparts. Every day, girls are touching the milestones set by the male heroes and putting challenges before boys. This healthy competition between boys and girls is deserved for a growing nation. But unfortunately, the mindset of our people to some extent is orthodox and biased for men only. They cannot tolerate uplift of women. They want to dominate the women. They have to groom up themselves properly. This is not easy. This is a challenging task. Our objective is to make them aware but that both men and women are equally important for human civilizations to grow. Hope this national e-conference will see a grand success. I would like to welcome you all. We are enlightened to receive positive responses from all of you. I have been reported that we have received 97 papers from across the country. Out of these 97 papers, only 70 papers have been selected for presentation. These papers came from 14 different states of India. We cannot suppress this overwhelming support. We are delighted, we are encouraged and inspired. We hope you will continue to support us in this way in our future endeavors also. Thank you all. Have a good day. Over to
Dr. Munshi from Haji AK Khan College to deliver our address on behalf of Haji AK Khan College because due to some unavoidable circumstances, Principal Sir of Haji AK Khan College, Dr. Gautam Ghosh, is unable to join us. So Sir has entrusted this noble responsibility to Krishnendu Sir to deliver Allah a note for this national conference. Sir, this to you.
Namaskar. Good morning, everyone present over here in this digital platform to celebrate International Women's Day through this national e-conference on empowerment of women in modern India, achievements and challenges, arranged by SRF College and Haji AK Khan College in a collaborative manner. Myself, Dr. Krishnendu Munshi, Assistant Professor, Haji AK Khan College. I'm representing my college on behalf of Dr. Gautam Kumar Ghosh, Honorable Principal Sir, Haji AK Khan College, who is now very much involved into submission of BVV following SSR for the ensuing NAC visit to our college. I think all of you can understand his condition now. Well, the word women empowerment encompasses a vast range of socio-psychological, economic, literary, and above all, philosophical aspects. The concept aims to create an environment where women can think freely, can express freely, as well as can take decisions of their own to develop themselves. Though the term empowerment is one of the most debated and discussed terms in societies around from ages, where it is usually interpreted as women's quest for equality with men. However, the approach should cover advancement of women in every walk of life and should focus on education, on equal access in enjoyment of all human rights equally, and eradication of discriminations in healthcare, education, career, wages, etc. The holistic goal of empowerment of women is to promote equal access in decision making with respect to social, economic, political spheres of life, and at large strengthen legal system of the nation to eliminate all sorts of violation of rights. This should be accepted unanimously that the state and status of the women in India now have been made by themselves only. We know once women in our country were debarred from getting education as well as exercising their choices in all respects. Now, after they have gained their rights to some extent, they have proved their excellence and talent in every domain, right from rocket science to the administrations. Women constitute 50% of country's population, but they are the largest excluded category in all respects. Till now, there are several shortcomings persist from the part of the society around. Few important questions should be raised today. To what extent legislative measures have been able to uplift the status of women in India? Are majority of women in modern India can express their urges and agonies till date? Today, women in India are striving to achieve empowerment in its truest sense. So, every citizen of our country should take care of things that makes a woman feel inferior and takes away her self-respect. The society should adequately recognize status of women around. Last but not the least, this is to mention that empowerment in a woman should take place from within herself. It cannot be injected from outside, and at the same time, women should retain gravity of the term empowerment. They should really play a participative role in all respects in making the new India and thereby can transcend themselves. This is a humble attempt from both the college authorities in this two-day national e-conference in celebrating International Women's Day to assess triumph of women of the country as well as to acknowledge their contribution in all domains of life in various and at the same time to understand the problems and prospects of women empowerment in modern India. I think the purpose of conducting this e-conference will be fulfilled in all respect. My heartiest thanks to respected Dr. Suhas Roy, Principal, SRF College, and all the persons involved in arranging the conference and the audience in such a befitting manner. I wish a grand success of it. Thank you again. That's it.
Now, I would like to request Dr. Malay Kumar Ghosh, IQAC, Coordinator of IQAC, SR Fatepuria College, to address us on behalf of our college. Sir?
Hello. Thank you, Somallo.
হ্যাঁ স্যার বলুন।
Good morning, all. I extend my heartiest welcome to each one of you to this conference on empowerment of women in modern India, achievements and challenges, organized by our Department of Political Science along with Haji Ifekhan College. It is my pleasure to see such a gathering of dedicated individuals who are committed to advancing our e-conference on women empowerment. Indian society has always revered women with many female deities like Durga, Kali, Saraswati, Lakshmi, etc. worshipped across the country. However, the patriarchal system has prevailed since the Vedic period without customs and traditions favoring men. Indian history finds mention of many wondrous women such as Gargi, Maitri, whose faculty of reasoning was far superior to that of ordinary men. Similarly, there have been female rulers like Jhansi Rani Lakshmibai, Rani Durgavati in various parts of our country. In the tapestry of Indian history, the role of women has been both dynamic and crucial. From ancient times to the present day, women have played pivotal roles in shaping the cultural, social, and economic of our nation. But women in India have often faced systemic, systemic barriers and inequality. The empowerment of women is not just a moral imperative, it's a social, economic, and political necessity. In modern India, we have witnessed remarkable progress in various aspects of women empowerment. Yet, we cannot ignore the persistent challenges that continue to hinder the full realization of gender equality. One of the most pressing challenges we face is the prevalence of gender-based discrimination and inequality in our society. Despite legislative measures and awareness campaigns, women still encounters barriers in accessing education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. The inequality not only deprives women from their fundamental rights, but also hampers the overall progress and development of our nation. Furthermore, gender-based violence is a burning issue in modern India. Whether it's domestic violence, sexual harassment, or harmful cultural practice, the trauma inflicted on women not only affects them individually, but also ripples through families and communities, perpet- perpetuating cycles of fears and insecurity. However, amidst these challenges, we must also acknowledge and celebrate the significant achievements that women have made in various spheres of life, from breaking stereotypes and occupying leadership positions to excelling in traditionally male-dominated fields. Indian women have demonstrated resilience, courage, and unparalleled strength. Under these circumstances, arrangement of this e-conference is most relevant, I think so. It is my hope that this program will lead us to pave the way towards a brighter, more empowered future for women in modern India. I urge each one of you to approach today's deliberation with an open mind, empathy, and shared sense of purpose. Let us harness the collective power of our ideas and initiatives to create a more equitable and inclusive society for future generations of Indian women. Thank you. Somallo.
হ্যাঁ স্যার। Thank you, Dr. Malay Kumar Ghosh sir, for addressing us. Now, we will move towards our main session. But before that, we just make sure that there is no special date or day to celebrate the Women's Day. Each and every day should be played on an equal footing by male and female. Nobel laureate Dr. Amartya Sen, in his capability approach, has mentioned about that so far we are concerned about the capability, women possess less capability than men in a society like us, where caste, class, gender, these three axes have exploited women since time immemorial. Now we are moving to our main session. Today we have two resource persons. First, Dr. Hamid Rasool will deliver his resource address, his invited lecture, and after that Dr. Shoma De Sarkar will deliver her lecture. Now I would like to request Dr. Hamid Rasool sir to start his presentation. But before that, I would like to uh, say some lines about our today's first resource person. Dr. Hamid Rasool is currently working as an assistant professor in Department of Political Science and International Relations in Gautam Buddha University, Greater Noida. Sir has done his PhD from country's university, that is Jawaharlal Nehru University. Sir is working on various papers. Sir has published several papers and articles in reputed journals, and Sir has presented himself as chairperson, as invited speaker in several international, national conference seminar and webinars. Now I would like to request Hamid sir to start his presentation, and sir just try to end up it within 11:50.
Hello.
Yes sir.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm very thankful to all you people that you have given this platform and for this very important topic that empowerment of women in the modern India, achievement and challenges. I am grateful to the Department of Political Science, SR Fatepuria, and the Department of Political Science, Hazi A.K. Khan sir. Today, I'm going to, that is very important topic which I'm going to cover today. The topic is the woman. Okay, let me share my presentation.
ল্যাপটপটা সাইলেন্ট করবো।
So I'm presenting on the topic that women's political reservation in parliament, and what were the steps and what were the history behind it, and what was the struggle to achieve this political reservation, and what are the pro and cons given that why we need this reservation, why we need this political reservation when we were not able to go through the normal methods of improving empowerment of women. The Women Reservation Bill, which was introduced in the Parliament in 19th of September 2023, And on the same day, the next day, 20th of September in 1923, it was passed, and in the upper house on 21st September 2023, it was passed in Rajya Sabha. And on, like, it started in 19th September and it was completed on 21st September. Like, all people have supported it. The bill was passed with almost 100% consensus, and out of the present parliamentarian 454, only two opposed it, and they were having their own reasons to oppose it, like why they opposed it. Few were saying that Muslim women should be given reservation. Few were saying that there were no OBC quotas, so OBC women should also be given reservation. So according to this bill, the 33% quota, the reservation is given to the women, and there will be reservation within the reservation, like SC, ST women. In case of ST reserve seat, in case of ST reserve seats, there will be reservation within the reservation. And this reservation will be exercised only after the when the delimitation commission or census will be carried out, and it is expected that will start such kind of reservation after 2024, after 2029. And we are expecting that the seats in the Lok Sabha might go after delimitation to up to 888 after the next delimitation census, so likely to implement it in 2023. So what are the takes and what are the points which are mentioned in this bill, in reservation bill, and what is its name and what is the history and what is the take? So this bill is known as Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, and we will be discussing few points. What are the points mentioned in this bill? The 33% of the seats in Lok Sabha, the state legislature, and the Delhi Legislative Assembly will be reserved for the women, because it will not be applicable to Rajya Sabha, it will not be applicable to legislative councils. In case of Legislative Assembly and Parliament, Lok Sabha, we can't say Parliament because there is no such reservation in case of Rajya Sabha. So Lok Sabha and State Legislative Assembly, we have this reservation. We will be having this reservation of 33%. And like, the immediate effect of this bill is that we have started discussing about the women reservation, the importance of reservation, and that why this was the only way. So only way to go forward. Why we could not meet this empowerment of women through other means, and 1/3 of the seats reserved for ST, SCs in the Lok Sabha will be reserved for the women for these categories. Like I told you, there will be reservation within reservation. There will be no reservation in either Rajya Sabha and state legislative councils. If we go and we see the data, and we will find that women in Indian politics, what is the number of women in politics in India right now? The total representatives we have 3.2 million, and women representatives are 1.45, and women heading the local bodies is 86,000, which is because of the 23rd and 73rd and 74th Amendment Act. And women in local bodies in India, and when we compare with the rest of the world, we can see that in India we have 44.3% women in local bodies, and in France we can see, we are comparing local bodies, because India is performing very well when it comes to Panchayati Raj institutions and local bodies, urban bodies as well. In India, we have 44.37%, whereas in France, we have 40.4%. In UK, we have 34.25%. And in Germany, we have 27.52%. And in China, we have 23.08%. In Japan, we have 12.87%. So we can see that those developed nations, even their representation in the local body is not as per India. So we are performing very well when it comes to local body representation, and that could only come because of the reservation. So similarly, we are expecting such kind of results in Parliament, in Lok Sabha as well. And Like, why, like, this few people were giving the argument that this is like, when we are giving reservation on the basis of gender, so it is a kind of against the article 14 and article 15. But we say it the positive discrimination. The positive discrimination, we know this is an act of government which is basically to cater a specific group, a specific which is basically not empowered as per, with the time could not empower. So it is not just because of the race and not because of the gender. That positive discrimination is an affirmative action which basically is done. So positive, on the basis of positive discrimination, we can say that the reservation given to women is justified. And then again, this is basically done to bring the social equality. Social equality means like 50, there are half of the population is women. So half of the population is, if is women, there should be representation as per the population proportion. But we have seen even in the local bodies there is 40% reservation, representation of the women, which we say that it's performing well. But it should be 50-50, because in every part, as the speaker before me, they were saying that men and women, they are not the different. They are the two wheels of the same vehicle, and without which we can't move forward. So if we have to move forward, if we have to achieve the social equality, if we have to achieve the 100% participation, that means there should be 50-50 50% participation of both the genders. And like, why we affirmative actions is required, because we need to achieve the equality. So we can't we have to treat unequal unequally. So that is why women are not as empowered as men. Women are, they can't, women are not as they can't access the public spaces as the men can access. So that is why we have gone beyond the, from equality to equity. And women reservation bill history, so like, there's a lot of struggle behind this, the reservation which we have got right now. And this is the women reservation bill, for the first time was introduced in 1996 during H.D. Devi Gowda. He was the prime minister at the time. And then again it was because it could not pass, and the session was over, so Lok Sabha session was dissolved, so it could not pass in 1996. And in 1998, the 12th Lok Sabha, this bill was reintroduced, but it could not pass. And after it failed to get the support, so again in 1999 and 2002 and 2003, but same happened with the bill, but it could not pass. And many times in 2008, the bill was tabled in the Rajya Sabha and was passed during the UPA regime. It was passed, but after that, the Lok Sabha was dissolved. The bill is still like, we could have continued it, but there were different provisions which was introduced in this bill which I am discussing. However, it was never introduced in the lower house and lapsed with the dissolution of the houses. After that, there has not been any movement in this bill. So, like we have seen till 2010, this reservation bill was under discussion, and after that, it has gone through long history. And like, why women reservation in politics is important. The issue of women reservation has been around since the independence struggle. Even during the Constitution Committee, parliamentary committees, there were committee, and it was being asked to the women that, okay, do they need reservation? And they said, okay, we don't need the reservation, because if there will be reservation, it will be that because when there will be reservation, so women will not be chosen on the basis of merit. They will be just chosen on the basis of reservation. Though merit is a very like not objective concept. However, in the post-independence decade, there was no improvement in the representation of women in the politics, and the number continued to be poor. So, so the number of participants, number of political representatives, representation of women was poor even after the independence. So, So it keep on continuing, and we keep on discussing this, and that is why we got this reservation today. And then in 1971, the Committee for the Status of Women in India under the Rajiv, which was later on complete under the Rajiv Gandhi government. In 1971, the Committee for the Status of the Women in India was established, which take which talk about the declining number of women representation in Indian politics. And this committee was which was set up, and they have given like there are around 50 points which were recommended, that okay, these are the things which we have to be done to improve the participation of women in politics. But later on, and this is one of that point, that okay, women should be given reservation. Other than reservation, we will not be having any improvement in the status of involvement of women in political parties. After the few state governments started providing the reservation to women in local bodies, like after 1971, the Andhra Pradesh was one, Karnataka was one. Karnataka was the first state which gave the reservation of 9% to the women in local bodies. Then Andhra Pradesh was there, then Karnataka was there. And right now, few states have provided there are around nine states which have provided 50% reservation to the women in local bodies. And in 1988, the National Perspective Plan for the Women suggested reservation to be provided to the women from the panchayat to the parliament. So in 1998, this big achievement happened, that okay, they asked that okay, we need reservation for women from local bodies to parliament. It is not that they're asking for the local bodies; they're asking from local body to parliament. Only then the participation of women will be improved. So 73rd and 74th Amendment Act in 1991, they have done a lot when it comes to women participation in politics. And currently, like state like Kerala, Maharashtra, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Jharkhand provided the legal provision for ensuring 50% reservation for women in local bodies. And like they were arguing for that, okay, there should be reservation. They were arguing against the reservation, that there should not be reservation. So we're going to discuss that. The political parties are inherently patriarchal, and therefore there is need for affirmative action in the form of reservation to ensure the just representation of the women in parliament. So, like, we understand the Indian society and Indian culture, and we understand the kind of system we have, like, and why we need, like, suppose reservation within the parties. Why we need? Because, like, suppose if there's a party, for example, the Samajwadi Party is there, that the base is UP. If Samajwadi Party says that we are going to give 100% reservation to the women in Kerala, in Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu, which is not the base of the Samajwadi Party. Similarly, if any state party is going to give reservation, 100% reservation in any other state, that is not going to count. So ultimately, this reservation, such kind of reservation was required just to make sure that in the mainstream politics, like they will be right now, they will be compelled to give reservation, 33% reservation to the women in their base, like in UP. Similarly, any political party working in West Bengal, any political party working in Jammu and Kashmir, any other political party working in Delhi, like Aam Aadmi Party, they will be compelled to give reservation in their own in their own main base of their political activities. So it is believed that the higher representation of the women in parliament will ensure the women's issues, which they will be discussed. According to the Global Gender Gap 2023, India ranks 127 on the index OTA 146, which is very, very low. And because of this, we also need this reservation. We were in need of this reservation so that we could improve this gender gap, women participation. If we keep on moving with this rate, the kind of gender gap we have, we are going to complete this gap in 162 years. So we can't wait for such a long time where the world is moving with the pace of light. So we have to move with the world, and India is making its impact internationally. So in why we should be behind? the women participation. That is why this affirmative action was required, and we have done with it. The political empowerment only slight gains compared to the previous years, with the women representation about 50% of the total number of the parliament. Right now, around 14% parliamentarians are women. They are saying that if we keep on moving normal without any affirmative action, so ultimately what will happen? This will keep on moving like this, because like we have the societal construct as well, and social construct as well, which says that women should belong to the household works, and the women are not interested in politics, which is not true. We And around 28 state, we're having just one state, which is the state of West Bengal, which is having the female chief minister. All other states are having the male chief ministers. It is now seen that the women in panchayati leadership position have made big differences. Like I have given you the data that we have 40.6% reservation, 40.6% representation of women in local parties, as compared to France, UK, and other countries, which is higher than them. That could happen only because of the reservation. And that decision making roles are required when it comes to women political participation. If they don't have the decision making roles, so they will not be able to participate. So like subsidiary roles, if they are given, so they will not be able to make any change to the society. And like our sustainable development goals, we have in gender equalities, the one of the important goal of sustainable development. So for that, we need that affirmative action, which will end this gender gap, and which will improve this participation of women in politics, and this will lead to the empowerment of women. And argument against the reservation, like why it was said that the reservation should not be given. Like it is against the principle equality. Like I have that we are only just because of the basis of gender, we are giving them reservation, which is against the Article 14. But this was the argument given. But I have told you this is a positive discrimination. So positive discrimination we can go for. Women don't form a homogeneous group like the caste groups. Like women are not like suppose they're women from upper caste, they're women from lower caste, they're women from minority, they're women from majority. So they're not homogeneous group like the caste. So it can happen like okay, that there will be women who will be financially well, only they will be given the tickets for political participation. They will be given by tickets the political parties. So this can happen. Some argue that the reservation of the seats in parliament would restrict the choice of voters to women candidate. A few say that when seats will be reserved, so it will be restricting choice, because only among the women we have to choose, and either they are able to perform or not able to perform. Only women we have to be voted for. And and dual member constituencies, where the constituency will have two MPs and one of them being women. However, this may backfire, as the political parties may contest the women from unwinnable seats, or they may not win at from the seats. Like I have told you, I have given you the example of Smartwadi party. Suppose they can give tickets to women to the seats where they feel that their candidates are very weak and they are not able to win. So they, for the just sake of filling the quorum, and just for the sake of saying that we have given equal opportunity to the women, so they can feel a candidate like that, and this may can backfire. And certain sections also argue that this opposition may lead to reduction of what is considered the ideal family. So reduction of seat means like this. This like we have consider that India, like as a nation, we are family, and this can lead to reduction of idea of this family, because what will happen then? We'll be just promoting, like we have seen in past. We have also seen that the chief minister seats were given to the female candidate, like the spouses only when there were cases against like Shubha Soren, right now we have seen, Lalu Yadav we have seen, only when there were cases against the male candidates who were the chief ministers, only then the this a chance was given to the female candidate, their spouses. And then why we need a reservation, political reservation? The political reservation for women have a notable impact on decision making process, like we have seen, and we have seen in other countries as well. They're being done by increasing women's representation and empowering women, addressing gender specific issues, and enhancing governance. So there was a survey, and in which they have seen where there were those Cs or those constituencies or those organizations which were led by women. They were more proactive. They were less prone with the corruption, and they were well organized. So we have seen that women are nowhere not capable. They are equally capable, and they can do only what is required is a chance. What is required is the social construct has to be removed, the structural construct has to be removed, so that they could go and achieve these things. And the women representation and empowering women, addressing gender specific issues, and enhancing the governance. So we have seen that because of the political representation, political participation, and political reservation, these things has happened, that they have addressed the gender specific issue, governance has improved, and many other things. The impact of these policies depend upon various factors. A woman continue to break the barriers and occupy leadership position. The potential for more inclusive and diverse decision-making process becomes increasingly evident after the political reservation, which is when given to the women. Like one of the most immediate effect is increased representation of women in decision-making bodies. This ensure that women voices are heard and considered in policy formulation and legislation. So the immediate effect will be that there will be more women, and there will be more voices in consensus to the requirement of the women, gender specific issues. And what is the like women's reservation way forward? And the women reservation in the parliament and the assemblies is a contentious issue, and one that seems to polarize the opinion across the society. However, there is no denying that it is the utmost important that women's representation in politics as a whole is enhanced. This is the right way forward. A more women representation would mean women issues are discussed more effectively and purposefully in policy making. So, what is the way forward? And like we have seen the pros and cons. Even after considering that, it is the only way through which we can achieve our goals of political participation. It is the only way which we can see the equal gender participation, and it is the way through which the women will be heard, and they will be represented adequately in different political platforms. And like there are a few facts I'm going to like say. This was a 128 constitution amendment bill, which basically talks about 33% reservation of women in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. And this reservation will be for 15 years, and after that maybe we can get done with this. And it like I have told you that it was passed in Lok Sabha in 19th September, and then 27th September it was passed in Rajya Sabha, and 29th September the president has signed this bill and formed into a law. And this will be the 106th constitutional amendment, and with this constitutional amendment there will be the introduction of 330A, 332A, and 339AA articles into our constitution. And 330A talk about the representation of women or reservation of women in Lok Sabha whereas 332A talk about the reservation of women in state assemblies, and where 339 AA talk about the reservation of women in state legislature of capital of Delhi. And we have seen from Bhimrao Ambedkar, Jyotirao Phule, Rajiv Gandhi, Sharad Pawar, and many people have from time to time have introduced different different amendments to the constitution to strengthen women, and uh, that is why we could improve. That is why we could improve the participation in local bodies, which is around 40% right now. And my take is that reservation has to improve, because in few states we are having around 7% representation of women in state assemblies. Like the maximum is in Chhattisgarh, which is 14.44%, and West Bengal it is 13.7%, and Jharkhand it is 12.35%. Uh, so necessary affirmative action were required, and we are done with it. And in 1952, like after the independence, the women representation was 2%, and in 2023, the women representation at the parliament is only 11%. So we can see that we have not improved very much. So that is why we need this affirmative action. That is why we were in need of that, and we have done with it. So thank you, everyone. I hope I have conveyed my presentation in a very time-bound manner. And thank you, everyone.
Uh, Thank you, sir. Now the floor is open to ask any question or query to our first resource person, Dr. Hamid Rasul sir. Anyone who wish to who have any queries can unmute yourself and ask question directly to our resource person.
They can make a comment. They can, if they want to add, they can add.
Yes,
Okay.
if anyone want to add anything to the lecture which has been delivered by sir just now, you can add to it.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, sir. I have a question. Is that
Okay, sir. Pallonpal, just unmute yourself. Actually, আপনার অনেক শব্দ আসছিল।
শুনে যাচ্ছে, স্যার?
না, আপনার সাউন্ডে সমস্যা আসছে।
হ্যালো, স্যার। শুনে যাচ্ছে?
না, আপনার আপনার সাউন্ডে খুব সমস্যা হচ্ছে। আপনি একটা কাজ করতে পারবেন।
I think many person unmuted at the same time. So this type of problem occurred.
Please, the participant, we have already told you that those who put forward question, just for them, unmute yourself one by one and then ask questions. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for us, as it is a online platform, so ultimately multiple voice will create problem. Okay, I think.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for this enriching lecture. And I hope every one of us uh, has enlightened themselves uh, by whatever you have said. Sir, I have only one question, or you can comment on it as well. That don't you think all these amendments, the rights we speak about women empowerment, the platforms where woman has been taken into a different level altogether, all these are much more into paper than that of theory. Like they are obviously they are being taken as serious steps by the government through their initiatives, but maximum of them, majority of these resolutions are still in paper. They are not being
Yeah.
made be in the participation of panchayati raj system or like local government system or anywhere, um, uh, in any perspective as such. And another thing is, it's very enriching to know that that West Bengal has the only chief minister who is a woman,
Everybody knows that. Okay.
and we have Draupadi Murmu as our president.
Yeah.
These two representatives we have in India. So relating both of them, can you just comment on something that majority of these, as you are from Delhi, so I know you know much better about women resolution. So much of these resolutions are in paper and not in theory.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ananya. Thank you. Like, suppose you yourself has said that, okay, we have the president, female president. We have, like in West Bengal, we have the chief minister who is female. Like America could not give the president, female president, wherever we have done it so many years back. like see, there are, I have talked about the social construct as well. Like, until and unless the society is not going to change, we'll be facing such kind of things that, okay, this thing will not be able to translate into reality. So that's true. Like still we are making improvement in different sectors. Like I have told, I have given the data that we have 40% representation of women in local bodies, and many states like state of Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, they have given up to 50% reservation in case of local bodies and local bodies and urban bodies. And they are making like differences, and there are issues as well, like proxy candidates, pradhan pati, and different issues are also there. And not denying the fact that, okay, the policies which are not completely reflected into reality, they're still in papers, but society has to change for that. Like, who give us the right? It is the society who give us the right. Fundamental rights are any right. Anything which is acceptable to society, that can get converted into right. So, like, when society will be mature enough, when society will be start thinking about that, we need that there should be representation of women in different decision making positions. So definitely the change will happen automatically. These are the affirmative action. That is why the affirmative is called affirmative action. Affirmative action means this kind of push which will be giving, which will lead us towards achieving our goal. So, yeah, that's it. Anyone else?
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And in chat box, there is a question from Kollon Pan. Sir, I have a question. Is that what is the main educational program for women in India?
Like, there are different programs. Like, this is very objective kind of question. There are different programs, like there are different skill improvement programs are there, like right to education, fundamental rights. Fundamental education is a fundamental right, I know, in India. So fundamental rights means anybody, any human being has to can achieve that. Nobody can deny to them. So definitely the women's education is covering under that. And different education programs are there. Like, they are from state to state, they are also varying. Like Nari Shakti Yojanas are there, different. So and what is the main education program for women in India? Yeah. Anyone else?
Okay. এনিওয়ান এলস আপনাদের মধ্যে আর যদি কারো কোনো প্রশ্ন থাকে তাহলে আপনারা আপনাদের মাইকটাকে আনমিউট করে আপনারা স্যারকে ডাইরেক্ট প্রশ্ন করতে পারেন। আমরা 2-3 মিনিট ওয়েট করছি, তারপরে উই উইল মুভ ফরওয়ার্ড টু আওয়ার নেক্সট প্রেজেন্টেশন। Sir, I think there is no query anymore. If anyone have any doubts, may or in letter, just inform us. We will.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, আমার একটা কোশ্চেন আছে স্যার। হ্যালো।
Mic.
হ্যাঁ স্যার, আমি স্যার ইনপুট করতে স্যার।
Yeah. Kolalpan. Yeah. There's a question like, could you explain how we can see the effective participation in politics? Effective participation means like education and society. That is, they're going to play a bigger role. Like I have told you, that we don't need the quantitative representation, we need the qualitative representation. Qualitative representation means they are not the candidate who are proxy, they are not the candidate who are just coming from the family who are already in politics. They are not any belonging to the family of earlier Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha members. They should be women who are coming from the very normal backgrounds. Then only we will be able to achieve the purpose of this reservation. Again, society, like still in India, we have many issues with the election, like on caste, on basis of ethnicity, on basis of religion. The voting is done. So, if we are going to improve in that sector as well, ultimately we'll be improving that in this sector as well. So again, education, I will say, is the factor which will be. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Another.
Anyone else?
Someone is asking that. Yeah, Colin, I'm just going to read your message because your voice is breaking, so I'm going to read.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
I have a question. Yeah, he's saying the poverty is another problem in women education in India. Like, definitely, India is like in the world ranking. India is very low right now. We have to improve in different sectors, especially in education and the kind of societal issue, kind of problems we are facing. We have to improve on those things. The poverty is one of the reasons, definitely, and it is like that. Women, they are not able to move alone. They need some male guardian with them when they are moving. For male, it is easy compared to the woman. Like suppose, for example, I'll give you one example. Suppose there's a boy and there's a girl and they're going for an entrance examination for CUT, common entrance test. For example, they are going. So definitely a guy can go on its own, whereas a female student will be accompanied by his mother, father, or brother, or anyone. Because we don't have that mature society like society in Europe where women can move freely and they can move alone on their own. So these things will be coming from the society. When society will get such mature, so definitely we'll be improving in female education, female participation, female political representation. All these sectors will be improved, and these parameters are going to improve then. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. If anyone have any query, if you want, we can share the email ID of sir. You can ask, you can put your doubts there, and hope sir will give answer to all those.
Yeah, I'll try my best. I will try. I'm not the only like ultimate who can give like
no, sir.
everything, but I will try my best because the kind of experiences, the kind of the readings I have done. So I'll be definitely answering all the things, applying my analytical mind. So I think, and I'm very happy and I'm very thankful to all the participants, all the people. And thank you especially for giving, inviting me. This is a very important topic which everybody should be discussing on. And I was like, what I should be talking about women empowerment, because I am not the authority, because my domain is security. So then definitely I thought of discussing this amendment which has happened. And I'm very happy and very thankful, and try to have a physical conference so that we could discuss more, we can have more interaction.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and thank you
Uh,
so much, everyone, especially the Department of Political Science, SR Fatepuria College, and Department of Political Science, Haji A.K. Khan College. I'm very thankful to you all. And definitely, like, I hope we'll see each other physically somewhere
yes,
and
sir.
we can share.
Obviously.
Okay.
Sir, obviously, sir, just you can now you can stay here, or if you have any work, you can join. And sir, just join us at 1:50, because your the session which in which you have to chair 11 paper presenters. That session will be started after the post lunch, so you can sir join us at 1:50, 1:50, sir.
Okay, I will be here. Don't worry.
Oh,
No issue.
oh, okay, 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 sir. So from our first presentation, we can learn two things. The sir has focused on two things. One, that there must be some positive discrimination, because sometimes we talked about equality, but if we follow the principles of John Rawls, because as we are from faculty of the political science and political theory and also political philosophy, we can say it that we are not following the model of Robert Nozick. Rather, we are following the model of the John Rawls welfare state model, and particularly where it is being stated that some kind of it's protective discrimination or positive discrimination is essential in order to promote the concept of equity, not equality. And other was that the sir has pointed out very nicely on one more aspect, that is we need a qualitative political participation, not quantitative participation, because quantity is something, quality is something. In order to draw out a framework for a better future, we must have some qualitative leaders, and a quality come from education, a culture, a efficient background. Thank you, sir, for presenting in such a delicate way, so that it is easy for everyone to understand your presentation. Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to request our second paper presenter, that is second resource person, that is Dr. Shoma De Sarkar ma'am. Dr. Shoma De Sarkar is currently working as an assistant professor in Department of Law, University of North Bengal. Madam is continuously teaching there since 10 years, and the topic and today she will dealt with the topic protection of women and social security legislations in India and evaluation. Apart from this, if we try to say few words about ma'am is very recognized figure in the field of law. Not only law, ma'am has also studied history, political science, and economics. Any one of us, sometimes we talked about the specialization, but if you just try to go through ma'am's uh, its profile, you will see that she has extensively interest in the study of political science, economics, history, current affairs, GK, and everything, and law exclusively. Now, I would like to request Dr. Shoma madam to kindly start his presentation, and ma'am try to wind up it within 12:45. You have 1 hour.
Thank you, Shomallo. Am I audible? I think my voice is
Yes, ma'am.
reaching to all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much for inviting me, for giving me this opportunity. I'm extremely grateful to the principal of Fatepuria College and Haji A.K. Khan College for organizing this conference, national conference, and it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you. Today, I'm going to present my paper on protection of women and social security legislations. I've prepared a small PPT So I'll share my PPT here, and then we can just start with the discussion. I hope the PPT is visible to all of you.
Yeah, yes, visible.
Okay. So as you can see that the title of my presentation today is Protection of Women and Social Security Legislations and Evaluation. Now, this conference, which is being held today by the organizers, is being held in the month of March, and all of us know that as soon as the month of March comes, we keep on saying that we see commercials, we see advertisements coming up saying Women's Day has come, Happy Women's Day, all these things we keep on seeing, and we get so many sale in the shopping malls and then online shopping and all. But then how much do we realize about that whether the Women's Day that we celebrate is only on 8th of March, or is it for every day? Whether we celebrate Women's Day every day for all the year through, or it is only we keep it for 8th March. So with this I start my presentation saying that the international organizations like United Nations, and there are various other organizations like ICCPR, ICESCR, UDHR, Convention on Political Rights of Women, CEDAW, all these organizations and all these institutions have given and provided equal protection, equal rights to women. All of these institutions have done that. Along with that, the constitutions of all legal systems have said that there should be equality between men and women. There is no other way. So Article 8 of the United Nations Charter enshrines the provision for equality of women. And as I have said, that there are various other organizations which have done so. Now, if we look at our constitution, we see that there are various provisions which have, just a second. Yeah, so there are various provisions in constitution which also provides various rights to the women. As you can see, Article 14, 15, 15.3, 16, 39A, 39B, 39C, 42, and there are various other provisions which are related to women. How? Because Article 14, it provides for general equality, right to equality to all people, including, so there should be affirmative action being taken, keeping in mind that all the citizens of India are equal. Also, Article 15 also talks about the same thing as well. When we are talking about affirmative action, we see that Article 15.3 specifically says that the state requires to make special provisions, and nothing will prevent the state from making special provisions relating to women and children. That is very importantly mentioned under Article 15 subclause 3. Article 16 talks about special opportunity given to the women as well as men. Equal opportunity should be given to men and women in place of work. Coming to now, these are the fundamental rights that are provided under the Constitution of India. Now, but however, the important thing that has been included under the Constitution of India is the DPSP. I think most of you, and I think all of you over here present, know what is the DPSP, the Directive Principles of State Policy. When the Constitution was made, the Directive Principle of State Policy was included so that the state may make provisions which at that point of time was not able to be made fundamental rights, but these are as important as the fundamental rights. So the Directive Principles of State Policy, they specifically mention under Article 39A, B, subclause A, B, and C, that special protection with relation to nutrition, with relation to the health of the women should be taken care of. Along with that, we also have Article 243D and T, which make it mandatory to reserve seats in panchayats and nagarpalikas for women. As my previous speaker, Dr. Vani, has already talked about reservation of women in panchayat and nagarpalika, as well as reservation of women in the parliament, which is a debating topic now. It is a very it is a burning issue now. It has not yet been passed, but it will definitely be passed some point of time. Now, while we talk about Constitution, the Constitution, though it provides fundamental rights to women and gives us certain provides certain rights to us, to the women. However, it is for the state to make specific legislations so that in order to protect the interests of the women. Now, and for doing that, there are various legislations which have actually been made. There are various legislations which are common legislations for men and women, and there are certain legislations which are exclusively made for the women. Now, over here. Has stopped. Okay, I'll just. Okay, I'll reshare the screen. Yeah. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so is the screen now, is it visible? Yeah, okay. So what I was saying is that even when the Constitution has provided us certain fundamental rights and the DPSP has provided us certain, has instructed or directed the state to make certain provisions for the women, it is ultimately for the state to make provisions and legislation so that there are laws to protect the women. Now, as we know that the struggle for rights for women has a long and a very checkered history, we know that, and being in a patriarchal society for for a very long time, it is difficult to make laws and provide and to bring women at the same pedestal where the men are. So it is it becomes more important for the state to play an active role and make certain special provisions which will give women equal rights over here. Now, in order to protect the women, there are various laws. Like if we talk about safety for the women, we have IPC, the Indian Penal Code, where we find that, and especially after the Nirbhaya rape case, I think most of all of you know what had happened in the year 2012. A rape had taken place, which later on it came to be known as the Nirbhaya rape case, and after that, Section 354 of the Indian Penal Code was amended, and special provisions were included into it so that the people who commit this heinous offense can be put behind bars, they can be identified, and therefore various other offenses which are related to rape can also be implicated. Along with that, there are various other legislations like the Factories Act, like Equal Remuneration Act. There are the POSH Act, Protection of Women, Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act, the Minimum Wages Act. So there are a plethora of legislations which I will be going through in my presentation, where we see that we have given certain special rights to the women so that they can have equal rights. Now, in my presentation, I will be majorly dealing with women who are in the working field, so who are employed. What kind of legislations, that means what kind of laws have been made for the women, what are the various special provisions in general laws for the women so that they feel protected, they feel secured, so that they can take up employment also. Now, we will be very astonished to know that for the year 2019-2020, the working force, the labor force of India, the percentage of women which contribute to the labor force is only 23%. So we can see that what is the position of women in the contribution of the economy and in the contribution of the labor force. Now, this we are talking about only the organized sector. There is a large section, an unorganized sector, which we do not take into account, and where all these legislations are not applicable. That is a very, very sad thing. Now, I will be mainly talking about in my presentation about social security. Now, what is social security? It is the ILO in 1989 has given us the definition of the term social security. It says that it is the protection of society provides, the protection which society provides for its members through a series of economic measures against the economic and social distress that otherwise would be caused by stoppage or substantial reduction in earnings resulting from sickness, maternity, employment injury, unemployment, invalidity, old age and death, the provision of medical care and provision of subsidies for families with children. That is what the ILO has to say about social security. And according to this definition provided by ILO, the states were supposed to make policy decisions, were supposed to make laws prescribing what is a social security and how to provide social security to the women, so that they can be come into the workforce, they can be included within the workforce of a country. Now, social security for women has three major aspects. One is protective, which prevents decline in living standard. That means so that the living standards of women. Now, what is the living standard of women? So, like we talk about nutrition, like we talk about health of women. So, special attention should be given to these aspects: nutrition, health of women. That is the protective aspect of social security. The second is promotive aspect of social security, which talks about enhancing normal living conditions. That means providing special provisions so that whatever rights, whatever schemes are availed by the women, they may be continued. They may uplift the living conditions of the women. So, like providing free gas cylinders to the women. Now, that what does that do? That makes easier. That makes the job of the women easier. So that is promotive aspect of enhancing normal living condition. And the third one is income maintenance and income support. So we must make legislations, we must make laws so that the women at large, they feel safe, they feel secured to go out of their homes and work for themselves, earn for themselves, support their families, and they have an income of their own. That is very, very important. So when we are talking about social security, we are not only talking about having an employment, having a job. We are also talking about living standards, a standard of living. That means they should have attention should be given to the nutrition, to the health of the women. Attention should be given so that whatever their living conditions are, that can be uplifted, and along with that, there should be opportunity should be given for earning their living, for providing employment and job. Now, social security measures, who are supposed to provide the social security measures? It is for the state, firstly, to make affirmative actions so that women can come forward and earn their living. Along with that, there are various NGOs and self-help groups and private sector, because in our country, the private sector also play a very, very important role when we are talking about employment generation and job market. So we are talking about overall needs of women, employment, sustainable income, ownership of assets. That is also very important. So that they are given the right, they have proper opportunity to own assets, property, maternity care, old age support. So all these things come within social security, as well as economic and social security is directly linked with social security, because economic security is a primary means by which people are able to obtain social security. So this is an overall view of social security that I am going to take you through the various laws, through the various legislations that have been made in India. I'm going to so in 2001 we had this national policy for empowerment of women. This is one of a kind policy which was made by the central government in the year 2001. The National Policy for Empowerment of Women, which talks about creating an environment through positive economic and social policies for full development of women to enable them to realize their full potential and enjoyment of human rights and fundamental freedom by women on equal basis with men in all spheres, political, economic, social, cultural, and civil, equal access to participation and decision making of women in political, social, and economic life of the nation. So these are the major objective that was laid down in the National Policy for the Empowerment of Women in the year 2001. And along with that, keeping these in mind, various schemes were made by the government since 2001, and also even before that also. So that the women can be social security can be ensured to the women. Now, these are the various elements which were looked into by the National Policy for Empowerment of Women. So, eradication of poverty, emancipation of health, opportunity for education, giving proper nutrition, housing, fighting violence. That is another very important thing, because that is one of the reasons why women cannot go out and work, because of the violence that takes place at home. So we come across, if you open your newspapers every day in the morning, you will find at least one news which relates to domestic violence. So so women are expected to go outside, work, come back home, and then be victim of domestic violence. So that is that is also the national policy for empowerment of women has also talked about prevention of violence, and also judicial reforms, decision making, and what are the action plan that has been taken by the that are to be taken by the government. Now, here in this slide, if you see, these are the special enactments or provisions which have been specially made for women at employment. So we have this is not an exhaustive slide. These are not the only laws which look into employment of women, social security of women in employment. There are various other laws which look into which try to provide social security to the women, but these are the major ones. So we have the Factories Act, we have the Minimum Wages Act, we have the Contract Labor Regulation and Abolition Act, we have the Employees State Insurance Act, we have the Employees Provident Fund Act, the Workmen Compensation Act 1923, Payment of Gratuity Act, Plantation Labor Act, Mines Act, so on and so forth. So it is not possible to look into all the provisions of all these acts. I have just picked up a few of the laws, and I just the laws which are more important, those laws I have picked up and I have tried to put it in the presentation. Okay, so as I was telling in the previously, that in 2019-2020, the percentage of participation in the labor force, it was for the rural area, it was 24.7%. For urban area, just imagine, it is 18.5%. So overall, it is only 22.8%. On an average, it is a 23% contribution of the labor force and participation rate. That is what, that is the situation. Okay. So I directly come to the Indian Factories Act 1948. This is a very, very important act. It was passed in the year 1948. What does this act do? What does this law do? This law particularly looks into the health, safety, and welfare of the workers. So we know that wherever there is industry, there will be factories, and wherever there are factories, we will be employing workers, we will be employing laborers who will now, being a socialist country, being a welfare state, as Shomalla was saying, that we are following the theory of John Rawls. So justice from that perspective. So keeping that into mind, this is a welfare legislation which was passed way back in the year 1948. There has been many amendments that took place later on, but then majorly it looks into the health, safety, and welfare of the workers. So what are the provisions, what are the conditions under which the workers can be provided safety, the workers can be provided welfare, and in case there is any harm due to working in the factory, what kind of help or what kind of compensation can be given to the laborers. So that is about the Factories Act. Now, to whom does it apply? It applies to every factory where 10 or more workers are employed, and if run with power, and 20 or more workers are or were employed if run without power, and where manufacturing process happens. Now, there are a few provisions specifically mentioned for women and children. These are the provisions which are there. So section 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and sections 11, 12, 13, all these are actually related to welfare of the workers and regarding health of the workers. Now, look at section 48 of the Factories Act. It talks about creche. So if there are small children who are less than 5 years old, the workers, it is the responsibility of the employer to build creches, to provide for creches, so that the mothers, the women, can take their children along with them and keep their children in their workplace in the creches. So that is a very, very important provision which are related to working women. Also, special rooms which can be called as shelters or restrooms or lunch rooms has to be provided to the women. Separate bathrooms for the women should be provided. Now, previously, when the act was made, women were not allowed to work for night shifts. So it was prohibited that the women should work in the night shift. So from 6 p.m. in the evening to 6 a.m. in the morning, women were not allowed to, or they were prohibited from being employed during this period. But in a recent amendment, this provision has been amended, which says that if there is adequate safeguard in the factory as regards occupational safety and health, then the women can be allowed to work for night shift. Also, if the provisions are such that it gives protection to the dignity, honor, and safety, and their transportation from the factory premises to the nearest point of their residence, if all these opportunities are given, then the women can also be provided job during night time. So these are the special provisions which have been made under the Indian Factories Act. Now, this is the Payment of Wages Act 1936. Now, we know that this act, it talks about, it regulates the payment of wages to certain classes of persons, and says that it is the responsibility of the employer to fix a wage. So we have a Minimum Wages Act also, which says that the wages cannot be less than the minimum wages as fixed by the government. And also, the Payment of Wages Act 1936 says that it is for the employer to keep in mind the Minimum Wages Act and to fix a wage which is conducive for the labor force, and no wage period shall exceed 1 month. It says that it also provides for that what is the time of payment of wage. So if there are less than 1,000 worker, then if the wage for a particular person is less than 1,000, then the payment of the wages should be within 7th day of the month. And if the wage is more than 1,000, then it should be within 10th day of the month, but of that particular month. And the payment always has to be in the form of money. It has to be monetary in nature. It cannot be in kind. So if someone says that, so you will work and I'll give you rice, that is not how it works. It has to be paid in terms of money. So payment has to be made monetarily. So that's about the Payment of Wages Act. Next, we have the Employee State Insurance Act. Now, why are we talking about these acts? Because these acts are applicable to men as well as women. So it cannot happen that there should be discrimination among men and women. So let's take an example. If in a factory there are men and women, the men are the payment for men are being made within 7th of the month. The same applies for the women also. It cannot happen that the payment for the women is taking place on 20th of that month. So that is why we are discussing all these legislations, because all these legislations apply equally to men and women, and also there are special provisions which are mentioned for the women. Now, the State Employees, the Employee State Insurance Act 1948, what does this particular legislation, what does this particular law do? It provides and guarantees good medical care to workers and their immediate dependents. So not only the workers, but also their family members. It applies to all factories and establishments where 10 or more persons are employed. And previously, the wage limit was 15,000 per month, but now it has been raised to rupees 21,000 per month. So if the gross wage of a particular person is less than 21,000 in a month, then the state is supposed to provide insurance, medical benefit, and sickness benefit, dependent benefit, maternity benefit to the people who are working in an establishment where there are 10 or more people are employed. Okay. Now, this is again another very, very important law, the Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act 1952 and the scheme. So who are eligible to get Provident Fund? Employees for Provident Fund. We are talking about Employees Provident Fund and not the General Provident Fund. What happens in Employees Provident Fund? In Employees Provident Fund, 12% of the salary is contributed by the employer, as well as 12% of the salary is contributed by the employee, and together that is kept as an emergency corpus. And when at the time of retirement, the employee can redeem or take away his whatever PF he has, whatever provident fund he has accumulated. Now, before that also the employee can take money from his account, from his PF account, as by way of loan. Okay, there are various tax benefits attached to the provident fund. The interest rate for the provident fund is to be decided annually by the finance minister, and also pensionary benefits are given for the employees who have provident fund accounts. Now, previously it was not mandatory, but now it has become mandatory that wherever there is 20 or more people employed in a factory, engaged, or in any industry, it is mandatory for that employer, for that industry, or for that factory to provide PF to the employees. Okay. Now, this is the Employees Compensation Act 1923. Previously this was known as the Workmen's Compensation Act 1923. Now it is known as Employees Compensation Act 1923. Now, why there is a change of the name of the act? Previously it was Workmen. So in order to make a gender neutral legislation, they have thought of changing the name from Workmen to employees, because when at work We cannot only, because in a factory, not only men work, there are women who also work. Therefore, it was thought that the name should be changed from workmen's compensation to employees compensation. Everyone is known as an employee. We do not say that he is a workman, he's a workwoman. We don't say that way, no. So that is why there was a change in the name of the law. Otherwise, now the major object of this act is that it enables an employee to get compensation irrespective of his negligence. So if there is an accident which takes place during the working hour of the employee in a factory or in an industry, in that case, it is the responsibility of the employer to provide compensation according to the harm that has been caused to the employee. So accident arising out of and in the course of employment, that is the first thing for providing compensation. And if any injury results in the total or partial disablement of the workman or of the employee for a period exceeding 3 days, in that case, compensation has to be paid. So and the percentage of compensation is decided again by the government. It is according to the percentage of disablement. So if a hand gets cut, what is the percentage of compensation that is to be given? If the legs get cut, then what is the percentage of compensation that is to be given? That has to be decided by the, it is provided in the schedule of the act, Employees Compensation Act. There is a schedule which talks about according to what percent of disablement, what amount of compensation has to be provided. So over here, we have, I have put in the slide this way that it is easier for you to understand. So part A of Schedule 3, and so Schedule 3 mainly talks about the amount of compensation and who are supposed to get the compensation, and what area has to apply the common laws that are applicable to men as well as women. Now, from here now, there are 3 laws that I will be talking, which are specific mentioned for employed women. So women who are in employment, who are okay, I'm sorry, my internet got disconnected. So let's continue. So these are the 3 legislations which are specifically and exclusively made for the women at workplace. So I'll be discussing the Maternity Benefit Act 1961 here, and the Equal Remuneration Act, and Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act. These are the 3 major acts which which deal with the women at workforce. Now, talking about the Maternity Benefit Act 1961, we see that due to the maternal qualities of a women, it was previously thought that the women are not fit for working at the working outside the homes. Okay, so in order to remove this thought process, and in order to also bring the women contribute the women in the economy of the country, include them in the labor force, the Maternity Benefit Act of was passed in the year 1961. See, it is not very long ago that the Maternity Benefit Act was passed. It was passed only in the year 1961. Now, what does this act provide? It provides benefit to the women who gets pregnant and who are, and this particular law, it says that the women who deliver their children, who deliver their babies, and they are not supposed to be employed within the 6 weeks of delivering the baby, and along with that they will be given leave up to 26 weeks. Now, this is previously, before 2017, women used to get a leave for only 12 weeks. Now women get leave for 26 weeks, like for 6 months. For 6 months, women get leave. It is a paid leave that women get, and so that the women are the women do not have their the fear of losing their job, and also they are given the opportunity to get back into their, to become fit again, to join the workforce, and also take care of their child, because during the first 6 months of the baby, the children, the babies require their mother. So it is for that purpose that the Maternity Benefit Act was passed in the year 1961. So that is the main objective, to regulate the employment of women in certain periods before and after childbirth. Now, this is also applicable for the women who have undergone miscarriage. So in case of miscarriage, the amount of leave, the number of days for maternity benefit is not 26 weeks, it is 6 weeks. However, in that case also, the women they will get a maternity benefit even when they undergo a miscarriage. So that is about Maternity Benefit Act 1961. Next, we have the Equal Remuneration Act. This is again very important. It is an act which was passed in the year 1976. And what does this act talk about? It says that because men and women are equal, therefore equal remuneration should be paid to men and women. Now, if we have followed news in the past few years or in the past few months, we must have heard that in certain profession there is disparity in pay. The like, especially if we talk about the film industry, we will see that the female actors are paid lesser than the male actors. However, the Equal Remuneration Act talks about that men and women, since they are equal, we see them as equal entity, they are supposed to be provided equal remuneration according to the Equal Remuneration Act 1976. Now, when are they supposed to be provided equal remuneration? For equal amount of work. So in case of equal amount of work, men and women have to be provided equal remuneration. So it is a though it is a very small law, very small legislation. So only a few sections are there. I think only 10 to 12 sections are there in the Equal Remuneration Act 1976. However, it is a very important. This is a very important legislation for providing equality, for providing so that the women can have a level playing field at the job sector. The last legislation, the last law that I'm going to talk about. Yeah. I'm sorry, just a minute. Okay, so this is the last legislation, the last law that I'm going to talk about, and this is a very talked about legislation nowadays. The Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act, or the Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act 2013. Let me take you a bit back. Let me take you at the history of this legislation, or at this law. Now, in the year 1997, there was a case which took place. The name of the case was Vishakha versus State of Rajasthan. And in that case, since there was no law relating to sexual harassment at that point of time, the Supreme Court, in the year 1997, they took the help of the provisions that were laid down in the international instruments like CEDAW, Convention on Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, that is the full form of CEDAW, and various other international instruments like ICSSR and ICESCR. So, taking the guidelines from those international instruments, the Supreme Court in the year 1997, in the case of Vishakha judgment, they had laid down certain guidelines as to what should be taken as sexual harassment at workplace and what is not sexual harassment at workplace. And accordingly, the Supreme Court had also requested the state to make law keeping those guidelines into mind. However, because this being India, it took almost I think 20 years to make the law, because finally the law was made in the year 2013. So from 1997 till 2013, in the year 1997, the Supreme Court had given us the guideline, and from then on, for about 20 years, there was no legislation. All the cases that were coming up relating to sexual harassment was being dealt by according to the guidelines that were laid down by the Supreme Court. And finally, in the year 2013, the Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act was enacted and passed in the Parliament. And finally, it was implemented. Now, so if you look into this slide, I have taken this slide from the Department of Legal Affairs. So this slide talks about what is sexual harassment, and it also talks about that sexual harassment. Now, sexual harassment, where is it applicable? It is applicable not only in the organized sector, it is also applicable for the unorganized sector. So, unlike various other legislations, labor law legislations, this particular legislation is applicable for organized sector as well as unorganized sector. So, for the organized sector, wherever there is more than 10 workers, the Sexual Harassment of Women Act will be applicable. And wherever, in case of unorganized sector, where there is less than 10 workers, the state government and the district officers will, there will be nodal officers for this particular purpose, and complaints relating to sexual harassment have to be made to these nodal officers who will be appointed by the state government and as well as district officers. So, what would comprise sexual harassment of women at workplace? So, physical contact and advances, demand or request for sexual favors, showing pornography, any other unwelcome physical or verbal or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. So, any of these actions would amount to sexual harassment of women at workplace. And again, I would like to repeat that it is applicable both in the organized sector as well as the unorganized sector. Now, in case of the organized sector, there should be an internal complaint committee. So where do we file the complaint? The women has to file the complaint with the ICC. So every every sector, every employment, every office, every factory, every industry, university, if you go have a talk in your college, there will be a committee which is known as the internal complaint committee for protection of women from sexual harassment. So there has to be an ICC. It has been made mandatory by the government, and the complaint has to be filed with the ICC. Now this committee is headed by a presiding officer who has to be a woman. So the presiding, it is mandatory that the presiding officer has to be a woman and who is employed at a senior level in the company. Along with that, there should be 2 other members who are committed to women's cause, having experience in social work or legal knowledge, 1 member from an NGO for women's causes or familiarity with sexual harassment issues, and at least half of all the ICC's members should be women. So there should be at least 3 members, 2 out of whom has to be women. So the complaint has to be filed at the ICC. Now, these are the various provisions in nutshell that I have tried to assimilate in this slide. So a definition of sexual harassment, as I have already told you. Then it is the obligation for the employer to constitute an internal complaints committee. Also, the complaint committee has the power of a civil court. So it has the power to summon and examine the person against whom the complaint has been made. Now, also along with that, there has to be, as I already told you, that there has to be 3 members, half of whom should be women. So at least 2 people should be women, and there should be 1 external member who has special knowledge on matters of women. Now, as soon as a complaint is made with the ICC, within 3 months from the date of the incident, the investigation as well as the order or whatever is the result of the investigation should be made public, or should be provided to the committee. Now, there is also a provision for conciliation. So if the aggrieved woman allows the matter to be settled through conciliation, but there should not be any monetary settlement, then that can also be accommodated. So if the woman who is the victim of sexual harassment wants to settle the matter peacefully with the perpetrator, then they can go for conciliation. Otherwise, if there is no conciliation, and if there is there can be punishment, or there can be fine for up to rupees 50,000. Now, compensation also has to be given to the victim of sexual harassment, because now, based on these 5 aspects: suffering and emotional distress caused to the woman, loss of career opportunity, her medical expenses, income and financial status of the respondent, and feasibility of such payment. So the compensation that is to be given to the victim has to be based on these 5 major points. Now, a very important thing about the Sexual Harassment Act, as I already told you, that it is applicable to organized as well as unorganized sector. Therefore, a large section of us, we know that our domestic workers are, our domestic helps are women. So this act is also applicable to the domestic workers or domestic helps that we have at home. So they are given the protection of this act in case there is any kind of sexual harassment to the domestic worker. Now, one important thing that I want to talk about regarding the Maternity Benefit Act is that the Maternity Benefit Act is not applicable to the unorganized sector. Now, just imagine that the people now as we have seen in the statistics that only 22.8% of the women are into the workforce, and a bigger chunk of women who are in the workforce who are not counted within that statistics, and they fall within the unorganized sector, like the contract labor, like the domestic helps, like domestic workers, all these. Now these people, they do not get maternity benefit. They will deliver their child and without caring about their health, because if they do not work, they will not be able to feed their children, they will not be able to help their family. So just after delivering their babies, they will come to work without considering the health of the child as well as their own health. Now this is not only about the unorganized sector, there is a large sector also, people who are self-employed, like say for suppose professionals, engineers, or if we talk about lawyers, advocates. Now this act is not also applicable to them because they are self-employed. Now an advocate or an engineer has to now since this act is not applicable to them, they have to keep away from work. If they are to take care of their babies, then they have to keep away from work for a large amount of time, for quite some time, and then later on when they join their job, they are not able to cope up with their peers. So that is one of the disadvantage, or that is one of the what to say disadvantage of the maternity benefit act, because it is the application of the act is very limited. So having talked about all these acts, I would just like to end my presentation by talking about one important thing, that when we are talking about employment of women, and when we are talking about constitutional rights, fundamental rights, and legislations and laws, the government has made laws, they are implemented. But one important thing that we miss out is whether the women have true access to the legislations, true access to the rights that the women are getting. Now when we are talking about true access, we are talking about opportunities. Now opportunities since the birth of a girl child. So whether a girl child, when she is born in a family, whether she has got the opportunity to be educated, whether she has got proper nutrition, whether she has got opportunity to use technology in also, and also opportunity to get healthcare benefit, whether the family where she is born, she is given the support of the family. So if all these opportunities, so when we are talking about access, when I am talking about access, I am talking about opportunities that are being given to the girl child. So if there is equal opportunity given from the time of birth, I think the rights that are given to the women can be better appreciated. So the main thing that I want to in a nutshell, if I have to wind up my presentation, I would like to say that in order to better contribution of the women in the labor force as well as the economy of the country, it is important that opportunity to the girl child, opportunity to the women should be given from the birth, and we will see that the contribution of the women will definitely increase. So thank you all of you for being patient with me, for listening to my presentation, and I hand over the conversation to Shomal.
Thank you, ma'am, for particularly almost 1 hour lecture. And in this lecture, you have been highlighted almost every aspects of social security for women. Now the floor is open. The participants, if anyone has any doubts or queries, you can unmute yourself and ask madam directly.
No one has any questions.
If anyone wants to ask any question or add something, or you have any doubt, you can unmute yourself and ask the resource person directly. The floor is open now.
Yes, you can also comment on any of the slide or anything that you want to discuss regarding the presentation. That is also viable. Yes, Shampa Mandal, please go ahead.
Ma'am, kindly on your video and mic and then just ask.
Hello?
Yes, Shampa, please tell.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful presentation. So I just want to know that whether there is any law to protect the mental health of women. Still, is it there? Is it working?
No, there is no particular law for the mental health of women or men in that case. But I think this particular act, the Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act, it also takes into account of the mental health of the women, because a lot of time, we are not able to prove sexual harassment. So in that way, if we want to include mental health, then it is there. But otherwise, specifically, if you talk about protection of mental health of women, or in that case, men also, it is not there. There is no legislation or law in that matter. I think we can also have a discourse on this regarding mental health, especially of women. Yes, thank you for the question.
But don't you think that is necessary, that there should be some laws, because mental health is one of the very important ingredients in our lives, especially when we are, you have mentioned a lot about sexual harassment and a lot other things, but the hidden part is when women are badly abused mentally. And don't you think that it's necessary, and there should be something to protect women from that regard? What do you think about that? Since you are doing a great job in the area of law, so I think I should, at least request you to think about all this, and if you can pursue from your end, there should be something. I don't know why it's not there. It's not existing still.
Yeah, because talking about mental health is still a taboo in our society. It is.
Why is that? My question is this. Yeah. Do you think it should be? It should remain as taboo.
No, it shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
And definitely it's a very important point that you have raised, that we require certain legislations and laws which look into the mental health of the people at large, and also specifically when we are talking about women, because women are expected to multitask, look at take care of their homes, and then if they are into jobs, then take care of their jobs, and then so in that case, what is the level of mental health that they go through the stress that they go through? Definitely this requires a discourse, this requires proper deliberations at national levels, at state levels, at conferences that we are doing. So definitely it is a very necessity at this point of time.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. I'll be very happy to see in the long run there will be some sort of laws so that women are protected from that rigor. Because as a woman, I definitely quote when you say or I say that women are expected to do this, because these are the things that we some people have imposed on us. Why this expectation from us only? Why not from other end, isn't it? Thank you so much,
Right.
ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, organizers, for this wonderful initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. We have another question from Kollul Pan. He's asking how we can increase the parental awareness in the context of women education in India. Now that is only through outreach programs that we can do. I mean, the NGOs, definitely there are many NGOs. There are also the government has taken a very positive, action. Like if we talk about the midday meal scheme, the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan scheme, all these things have actually promoted education among girl child. Though we have not reached we have not achieved the goals that have been set, but I think that there are many girls who are going to the school due to these schemes, and also the NGOs have done a very good job when in making the parents aware to send their girl child to the school. Now, one important thing that I want to point out is due to this COVID, when you see that the COVID has resulted in the dropouts of many children from the school, and when you look at the statistics, you will see that the dropouts are more when it comes to girl children. So the parents they'll send their sons to the school, but then they'll not send their girls to the school because they are married off, or they want them to be at home and work for their home. However, I'm saying again that the NGOs and the governments, they are definitely working towards increasing the education of the girl children. Thank you for the question, Pablo.
If anyone has any doubt, thank you Kollol Pan and Shampa ma'am for asking valuable questions to our resource persons. We are thankful to all of you. Is there any other comment, queries or note? I think no. So now we are on the verge of the end of the first technical session, that is the presentation by our resource persons. We will start our next session, that is a paper presentation session from 2 o'clock. Participants are requested to join their particular sessions at 1:55 so that we can start the paper presentation session in a very smooth manner. Today we have 4 paper presentation sessions. The first session will be chaired by Dr. Hamid Rasool. Second paper presentation session will be chaired by Dr. Shoma De Sarkar ma'am. The third session will be chaired by Dr. Divakar C, who is working as an associate professor in Department of Political Science, University of Mysore. And the fourth will be chaired by Subhash Chandra Mondor, associate professor. One thing is that those participants who have been included in the paper presentation session 3, that is the session which will be chaired by Dr. Divakar C, for them a separate Google Meet has been shared morning in the group. We will again share the link because in the Word file there is a link, but the link is not working. because there is a one single word is missing there. So we have shared the link again in the group, so you can join through this link. Ma'am, I think there is another question is there from Kollol Pan. Sir, I have a question is how we can address how we can decrease the child marriage in India. কি হলো নেট কাজ করছে না কেন এখন? হ্যালো, দেখো তো পাশে করে নেট চালাচ্ছে নাকি না, তাহলে কি হলো? হ্যাঁ, নেট কমে গেছে। Acha, I think there is some technical issue for ma'am. We are thankful to all of our resource persons who have enlightened us through their depth presentation, and we are also thankful to the participants who have raised their doubts and asked questions to our resource persons. Thank you so much. Hope we will meet you at 1:50 p.m. sharp, and participants or the present paper presenters are requested to join their respective session at 1:55 so that we can start the program in a smooth and effective manner. Thank you. Thank you all. কি করবো? স্টপ করে দেবো?